I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do. I've had a few, and so with you, but then again, without exception, I planned each child I caught what I had to do, each careful step, and so with you, but then along the way, without exception, and more, I planned much more, each child I caught what I had to do, each careful step, and so with you, but then along the way, yes, the time, and more, I showed much more. When I did each careless step, but through it all, when there was doubt, I reached when I did each careless step, but through it all, when there was doubt, I reached when I but through it all, when there was doubt, I reached when
Good evening, everybody. We're still waiting for the Master of Ceremonies, but while we wait for him, we'll have the national anthem. Frank Tenor.
may we all rise for the national anthem, Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land, though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians all and proud to serve, assaulting the motherland. a symbol that truth and justice reign in peace or battle, Lord, and this we count as gain. To pass unto our children the banner without stain. Grant these our one request. Help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed. And so with peace and plenty, and Nigeria will let me
Can we all be seated, please? Can we all be seated, please? Thank you. Opening speech by the chairperson, planning committee of the 45th anniversary celebration. My name is Chinelo Opala Esquire. Distinguished chairman and special guests, respected judges, senior advocates of Nigeria, traditional rulers, esteemed colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome. Today, we gather not just to celebrate 45 years of excellence, but 45 years of God's faithfulness, resilience, laughter, hard work, and friendship forged over the years. 45 years is not a joke. Welcome to the 45th anniversary lecture and reunion gala of the class of 1980. It is hard to believe that it's been 45 years since we start in those law school classrooms, nervously taking exams and dreaming big. Tonight, we gather to relive old times, reconnect with old friends, and make new memories. As we reflect on our journey since law school, we are reminded of the values instilled in us: justice, integrity, service, and pride in our profession. Over the years, our profession has faced challenges, but we remain committed to upholding the rule of law. It is important to place on record that our 45th anniversary reunion was originally scheduled to hold in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, and plans were underway. However, in April 2025, when a state of emergency was declared in Rivers State and the elected governor, Sir Siminai Lami Fubari, suspended by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the planning committee conferred with all members, and it was agreed that due to the uncertainties resulting from this suspension, the reunion should no longer hold in Rivers State. Abuja was the preferred choice. My heartfelt gratitude goes to every member of the reunion planning committee whose dedication and resilience made this event possible, especially in the face of an abrupt change of the venue. I am equally grateful to Abuja-based classmates for their invaluable support. To our volunteers and sponsors, your unwavering commitment has been the backbone of this celebration. Over the past months, our alumni community, through generous contributions, have shown what it truly means to give back. We didn't just organize a celebration, we created an impact. As part of our activities, to mark our 45th anniversary, NLSA, that means Nigerian Law School, class of 1980, we reached out to correctional centers, gave support, hope, and dignity, which helped to secure the release of 8 inmates from the Nigerian Correctional Service KEFI. We also made a donation of the sum of 5,032,500 naira to Nigerian Law School, Graham Douglas Campus, Port Harcourt, Nigeria, for urgent critical projects to improve living conditions on the campus. The projects are the installation of solar powered pump and new borehole to ensure improved water supply at a cost of 3.4 million naira. The installation of existing 30 kVA generator as alternate power to the medical center. The theme for the reunion, the Nigerian legal profession at crossroads, is a reflection of the concerns of members of the Nigerian Law School class of 1980 and indeed all well-meaning Nigerians about the state of the legal profession in Nigeria right now. The lecture, Reassessing the Nigerian Legal Profession in the 21st Century, a Cry for Urgent Reforms, which will be delivered by a distinguished scholar, Professor Andrew Ekwueme, SAN, promises to be enlightening and thought-provoking. We also look forward to the perspectives of the two discussants, Emmanuel Okala, SAN, and Professor Koinsola Ajay, SAN, both of whom are our own distinguished classmates. As chairperson, I am immensely proud of what we have achieved, not because of the projects themselves, but because of the heart behind them. This is who we are, alumni who don't just celebrate ourselves, but uplift others. Alumni who recognize that our calling comes with responsibility. Alumni who are determined to leave a legacy worthy of the next 45 years. Tonight, let us celebrate friendship, purpose, and the incredible journey that connects us all. Let us laugh, reconnect, build new bridges, and strengthen old ones. Let us remember that though we may argue in court and disagree politically, today we stand united in gratitude, in service, and in joy. So, on behalf of the planning committee, the best set of people to ever serve with, I welcome you. I welcome you to a memorable, meaningful, and enjoyable 45th annual school class of 1980. However, before the festivities begin, may we stand and observe a minute silence for the souls of our 116 colleagues out of the 520 that we are called to the bar in 1980, who have unfortunately departed this world. Please, it will be exactly 1 minute. May their souls and the souls of all the faithful departed, through the mercy of God, rest in peace. May they rest in peace. Without further ado, it is my pleasure to invite the chairman of this occasion, our very own distinguished classmate, Mokhtari Shehu Shagari, Esquire, CFR, to deliver his opening remarks.
My dear colleagues, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I will crave your indulgence to stand on existing protocol so that we can move faster. But I'll go ahead to read my own address as chairman of this occasion. But first of all, let me thank all of you for seeing me worthy of this very important position that you have given me today to be the chairman of to be the chairman of a dinner being put together by the most vibrant and the best set of law school uh, students ever. Our achievement in life has shown that we are the best. Distinguished colleagues, my brothers and sisters, all dear friends of the Nigerian Law School class of 80, good evening. It is a profound honor to stand before you tonight as chairman for this special gathering. 45 years ago, we walked through the gates of the Nigerian Law School in Lagos with youthful ambition, determination, and the belief that we could make a difference. Looking around this room today, I'm filled with pride and gratitude to God Almighty and nostalgia. The faces may have matured and the hair may have silvered, or in some cases disappeared entirely, but the spirit that defined our class remains as vibrant. And this is a testimony that the hair has really changed. This dinner is more than a reunion. It is a celebration of friendship, of shared experiences, and of a legacy that continues to resonate within the legal profession and beyond. Each of us has traveled a unique path, some to the bench, some to the bar, others into business, academia, public service, and many other fields. Yet wherever we went, we carried with us the discipline, resilience, integrity that the law school has instilled in us. Tonight, we honor not only what we have achieved as individuals, but what we have built as a community. Our class has produced leaders, innovators, mentors, and role models. We have contributed to justice, governance, national development, and the strengthening of the rule of law. Ladies and gentlemen, my brothers and sisters, this is the only set that produced the Secretary to the Government of Federal Federation throughout the history of Nigerian Law School. We have faced challenges, witnessed transformations in our country, and adapted to a world that has changed drastically since 1980. Yet our values have remained constant. Let us also take a moment to remember our classmates who are no longer with us today. Their memories remain part of the fabric of our class, and we honor them with respect and affection. May their souls rest in perfect peace. As we enjoy this evening, I encourage us to all reconnect not only with old acquaintances, but with old ideas, the ideas that once made us believe we could shape the future of our profession and our nation. The class of 80 still has much to offer. Our wisdom, our experience, and our unwavering commitment to justice and service to our nation. Let this dinner renew our bonds, revive our shared vision, and remind us of the remarkable journey we began together. May we continue to support one another, celebrate one another, and uphold the honor of the legal profession. On behalf of the planning committee, I thank everyone who made the effort to attend, those who contributed making this event a success, and all who continue to keep the spirit of the class of 80 alive. Ladies and gentlemen, we are no doubt the best. We are no doubt the greatest. We have served this country well. We have served the legal profession well. And we are proud of who we are, the great class of 80. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, cheers and let the evening begin. And I pray to God Almighty that the next occasion, all of us will be around. Even though many of us have gone, there is no reason for us to stay longer than God wants us to stay. But we pray to God Almighty to bring us together once again as He has done today. Thank you very much, and let the party begin.
I think it's a good place to start. Mr. Chairman has said, let the event begin in earnest. Ladies and gentlemen, please, a round of applause one more time for our chairman. Judges and justices of the Supreme Court, Court of Appeal and High Court, senior advocates, senior government officials, invited guests, class of 1980, members of the Fourth Estate of the Realm. It's my pleasure to welcome you once again and, of course, speak from where our able committee chairman stopped. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, one more time I will take us back and say, please, without the committee, steered by the chairman planning committee, Mrs. Chinelo Okpala, we probably would not have been gathered here tonight. So one more time, let's go back and give her a resounding round of applause alongside her team. Next is a brief citation of the guest lecturer. The stage is set for that, and we invite a scholar of depth and distinction. Ladies and gentlemen, he is not just a professor, he is Eze Osrofia I of Obinofia Nduno Kingdom. Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Dr. Christian Nwachukwu Okeke. A round of applause. Let me take the pleasure to let you know that the coronation will be taking place sometime next month. Igwe.
Distinguished chairman of this occasion, my distinguished colleagues, in the interest of time, let me go straight forward to deliver a brief citation of our guest lecturer, who is a very acknowledged scholar and jurist of no mean order. He is Professor Andrew I. Emerie, SAN, FCIB, UK, FICAB. He's a professor of commercial law at the Rivers State University, Port Harcourt. He obtained his LLB from the University of Maiduguri in 1984 under the then Professor Nicky Toby of blessed memory, who later ascended to the Supreme Court of Nigeria. Professor Ekwueme became a senior advocate of Nigeria in 2009 and was sworn in 2010. He is a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, London, fellow of the Institute of Construction Industry Arbitrators, Nigeria. He is a national delegate to the Global Commission of Arbitration and ADR, International Council for International Commercial Arbitration. Professor Ekwueme has great interest in special areas of law, primarily commercial law, especially international commercial arbitration and ADRs, oil and gas law, and evidence law. On the 10th November 2025, he was admitted into the body of benchers, thereby joining the benchers in doing the call to bar activities. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you'll agree with me, we couldn't have picked any better candidate to deliver the lecture whose title has been announced by our able chair. So, would you be kind enough to join me in welcoming our distinguished guest lecturer, Professor Ekwueme San, to the podium to deliver the 1980 reunion lecture. Professor, thank you for accepting.
Good evening, gentlemen. When Professor Keke asked me to send or to read what he has written as my citation, I told him that I consider myself insufficient for him to read a citation for me because of the way I know him. But he has read the citation. And because of time, I will immediately proceed to deliver the lecture. The lecture is about, it occurred to me, and it still occurs to me up to now, that there are a lot of things that call for urgent reforms in the profession. And I had the impression that the 1980 class is a class of who and who in Nigeria, who and who in the legal profession. And I said to myself, is there any other place to raise concerns? And we hope that in the few months and years to come, there will be reforms indeed in the legal profession in Nigeria. Now, I started by defining who a legal practitioner is, or rather to say that the legal profession is made up of three themselves, that is the lawyers or the legal practitioners, the judges who are also legal practitioners, and the paralegals. Now, it is the skills of the professionals, the intellect they have, that binds the legal profession together and holds them together. Now, it's surprising to find out that in Nigeria, the legal profession or the legal practitioner is not just a lawyer. I had the impression that a lawyer is a legal practitioner. A lawyer is somebody in the profession until I was preparing this lecture. And I found that by Section 24 of the Legal Practitioners Act, it is not every lawyer that is a legal practitioner. It is the legal practitioner that is a member of the legal profession in Nigeria, and not just the lawyer. So every lawyer, or rather every legal practitioner is a lawyer, but it's not every lawyer that is a legal practitioner. And we shall be seeing in a moment why it is so. And I found also that the things that bind the legal practitioners in Nigeria, the things to which the legal practitioners are bound, lawyers are not bound by those. Because everything about the rules of legal, the rules of conduct in the legal profession and such things, they only speak to the legal practitioner and not just any lawyer. So, in doing the reassessment, gentlemen, of the legal profession in Nigeria, we shall be talking about the legal practitioner as a person. We shall be talking about the MBA, the body that holds the legal practitioners together. We shall be talking about the MBA in talking about the MBA, we shall be talking about the Nigerian Law School. We shall be talking about the bodies that every lawyer that is called to bar in Nigeria encounters on his way to become a legal practitioner and on his way as being a legal practitioner. We shall be talking about the Institute of Advanced Legal Studies, and we shall be talking about the giant strides which the legal profession in Nigeria has accomplished since 1866 when he was born. And we shall be talking about a few other things. Now, if we go straight to talk about the MBA, its history and its formal place in Nigeria or in Africa. On the MBA platform, MBA announces itself as the foremost and most and the oldest professional membership organization in the country. It says that it's the foremost network of legal practitioners in Africa. And this is true, really. It is true except for Egypt, that has a higher number of legal practitioners in its role than the MBA has. I ran through the membership and the presidency of the MBA from inception, and I noted all the presidents of the MBA from inception up to today. I noted a few other things, and I came to the conclusion that the MBA, the Nigerian legal profession, has fared well in comparison to its equivalents in other jurisdictions in Africa. I looked at certain persons that have led the profession from the flanks, both from the judiciary and from some other parts of the profession. I noted, gentlemen, people like the Honorable Justice Adetukumbo Ademola, the Honorable Justice Taslim Elias, Donley Alexander. I noted people like Andrews Otutu Obaseki. I noted Kayode Esho, Antoya Niagolo, Augustine Namani, Chukwudi Ife Oputa, the Socrates of the Supreme Court, and my mentor, Nikki Toby. I noted people like Taslim Elias again, GIM OUK, Professor Ben Wabweze, and so on and so on. And I rushed to the implications of the 21st century, the implications of the 21st century, the imperative of economic revolution. Now, this is where the lecture actually starts. I'll mention three things that are of note in noting where the legal profession is in the 21st century. The first is information technology. And I said to myself, and I wrote it down here, that this generation of lawyers, your generation, gentlemen, you have gone through several phases of practice. You have gone through the use of certain things in your practice, whether in legal practice or at the bench or anywhere else. You've gone through manual typewriters. You have gone through electric typewriters. You are going through the computer today. You've gone through the different shades of telephones, photocopiers, and printers. You have gone through the fax machine. You have gone through the filing of paper processes, and now we are into e-filing, where processes are filed online. You've gone through physical meetings, gentlemen, meeting as the MBA. You are now into Zoom meetings. You are now into WhatsApp meetings. You are now into video meetings. You are now in a generation that is called Generation Z, where people come for meetings and they are not bothered to take notes on laptops or anything. They rather take notes on their they rather take notes in their phones. And some of you who are into private practice, this is something that you face every day. That you have a generation who, because of the intervention of the information technology, they do not use the things that you used when you were juniors in practice. They now use their phones. Now we have also the advent of AI. The AI is no longer suggesting words and phrases to use in business proposals, outlines, and brochures. It is rather undertaking the writing of those things themselves. So AI now writes, if you permit it, it writes retainership proposals, letters of introduction for external solicitors relationships. AI now writes, if you permit it, writ of summons, originating summons, motions, statements of claim and defense, written addresses, and so on. This is and judgment, yes. Yes. Now this is what AI, what information technology has done for us. Now, AI has also brought us to a situation where people now rely on AI and they cite cases. People rely on AI and cite cases, and sometimes those cases are found not to exist. And I have cited two examples here. There's the case of Mata against Aviana in the United Kingdom, in the United States. And then there's the case of Maviada against MEC in South Africa. These were cases that the lawyers that were involved in doing those cases relied on AI, and they cited cases that did not exist, and the judges reprimanded them very sternly. Now, gentlemen, AI has also, or rather information technology, has introduced to us a faster and more reliable way of doing research. And for those of us who are into the academia, and even those who are into private practice, they find that they can now do faster and more reliable research because they use AI and information technology. I come to the place where I would ask every one of you to please listen for what we are going to talk about. Is there any reform that should be done in the legal profession in Nigeria? Yes, there are. And one of them, if you ask me, gentlemen, is the banishment of the wig and the gown. Now, if you look at the wig and the gown, our judges and the lawyers that wear the wig and the gown, in this environment where heat, where the weather is not conducive, if we're here now and the AC was not put on, in 10 minutes, we will be turning around and we'll be wanting to go. Now, gentlemen, we still do those things that are done in the profession. And when you ask, why are we doing them? You find that there is really no reason other than subservience to tradition. And tradition that brings us nothing. The first person that wore the wig is said to have been King Louis VII, who suspected that he had syphilis on his head. And because of that, he wore the wig as a way of protecting himself from the sight of men who would see that he has syphilis on his head. He used it, and then with time, the nobles started using it. The legal profession started using it. And then that's how we inherited the wig. The gown has a similar kind of history. Why are we doing so now? We only do so now because we are subservient to old-time tradition. If America, for instance, if in the UK they are wearing the wig and the gown, we may say, well, maybe their weather permits it. Maybe there's something to derive from wearing the wig and gown. But in Africa, in Nigeria, we have no reason whatsoever to wear the wig and to wear the gown. If you read what I've written here, and I believe that everybody will have a copy made available to him or to her, you find the argument that we have canvassed. The summary of it all, gentlemen, is that we have no business wearing the wig and the gown. And in some places, in South Africa, for instance, they don't wear the wig and the gown any longer. In Burkina Faso, even outline for themselves a way or an African way of appearing instead of the wig and the gown. But you see, in Nigeria, gentlemen, as you are gathered here now, anybody that comes here will say that this is the best brains that Nigeria has. If there are people that should think out things and say, we don't need this, it is the lawyers. Somehow, it is lawyers that have not found out. What are you talking about? It's lawyers that are still wearing the wig and gown. The other things that we're doing in the profession, we use obscure ancient usages. We use something like chattels, witnesses, hearing before, whereupon, indenture, demora, and so things. We even have Latin phrases, sine die, sine non, as some put. If I ask us here, what is the meaning of composite mentis? You can see I have difficulty in pronouncing it. Many of us will not know what it is. We also have things, gentlemen, that we use sentences and phrases that are windy, and they are not short. They are not addressing the present circumstances. I want to run. Is there a reform that is needed in the MBA? There's a lot that Nigeria can learn as a country from the MBA, the way we do our elections. Our elections in the MBA is one president has a single term. And after that term, he is not coming to be president again. Nigeria can benefit from that. Nigeria can also benefit from what we do in the MBA. The three geopolitical zones that are acknowledged in Nigeria, they share the presidency. The presidency rotates amongst them. When it comes to the turn of the North, for instance, everybody in the North, we look at themselves, and only persons that from the North will present themselves to be MBA president. Nobody from the southwest or the southeast will do that. And MBA president will be elected from amongst them. Gentlemen, if you ask me, you and cry about the presidency of this country, we can learn a lesson from the MBA. And in learning that lesson, one part of Nigeria will produce the president, and that president will run for a certain number of time, a number of years, and he will come back no more. Now, you will read these things that I've written here also. Now, the problem with that now is that the cost of elections in the NBA is high. Figures have been mentioned in the media and elsewhere that to be the NBA president now, you have to talk of figures like 800,000 and 1 trillion to do the electioneering campaign. I know that there is an NBA president here. In his own time, I'm not sure he spent 800,000. But that is the reality now, gentlemen. Now, should we go on like that? My answer is no. When you read this paper, you'll find the reasons why we should not go on like that. Now, another reform that we need to do or effect in the legal profession, gentlemen, is the spate of indiscipline amongst the lawyers, and particularly the elite among the lawyers, among the senior advocates of Nigeria. And I'll just run. Among senior advocates, people are now bold to say that plenty of the problems we have in the profession is traceable to the senior advocates of Nigeria. And somehow it looks like it is correct. Many members of senior advocates or people who are senior advocates of Nigeria have been accused of chasing briefs. And recently, there were stories of fraudulent practices with respect to acquisition of property in Nigeria and even outside Nigeria. And it was done by senior advocates amongst other people. Another thing that I have noted here for reform is that in our profession, respect for seniority is a very serious matter that everybody who is a lawyer takes seriously. But in recent times, we found that respect for seniority is no longer like that. We now have cases where people stand up in court and say that the person who is senior to them at the bar should not mention their case before them. Why? Just because of bravado. And I've outlined things here, and I've mentioned a case, Mr. Chuks Okonkwo against a senior advocate of Nigeria that took place somewhere in Oji River in Enugu State. I've also gone to the challenges of stamp and seal. The stamp and seal project is a very laudable one that should be preserved in the profession. However, it has come with challenges. And some of those challenges are because we are lawyers. Their interpretations have been done, and things like if a lawyer fixes his stamp and seal and it's for a previous year, then it is defective and the process he has filed will not be acknowledged. But the courts have said that once a stamp and seal is affixed and it says that it is the owner that affixes it, then in cases like CBN against Eze in 2021, the stamp and seal and their fixture is right and well. I've also treated the activities of quacks in the profession. We all know that quacks have become like a recurring decimal in the profession. And my concern here when you read this paper is that some of us who are professionals, who are lawyers, the way we relate, the way we do things, we even go and do things that are unprofessional, such as maybe giving our stamp and seal to non-professionals and for them to come and use. I've cited here examples of the fact that some of us buy the lawyer sticker and we give it to taxi drivers and maybe even bus drivers, and they affix it on their taxis and their buses so that the law enforcement agencies will not bother them. When you read this, you see what we have said about that. Another reform, gentlemen, that we need to do in the legal profession is the creation of employment for younger members of the profession. And I have argued here that the profession, the MBA for instance, can do a lot to do great jobs for its members. I've noted here that, gentlemen, somebody wrote an article that I read recently, and he said that a boat driver, I think in Lagos, is a lawyer. A lawyer is doing boat driving. That means taxi driving for survival as in Nigeria. We also know that some other things. I have read also of how a senior lawyer has told his juniors to be joining him in going to do farm work in his farm so that they will be able to survive. From the things they get from the farm, they will augment their gettings from the law firm. Gentlemen, if that is happening already, then terrible things are ahead of us unless we stand up and do some reforms. I have also said that the MBA can take certain steps. We can expand the employment of lawyers and make lawyers to be prosecutors in the magistrate courts. We can do things like that. I've also talked about the imminent serious numerical growth. Gentlemen, it is clear to every one of us who thinks that the MBA national conferences can no longer hold in some towns in this country. Some towns simply do not have the facilities. Now, even for the few places that have the facilities, the rate of growth in the profession is such that in the next 10 years, unless certain structures are put in place, in the next 10 years, it may be difficult to find a place that can host the national conference comfortably. And what I have said there is, well, there are two ways of approaching this thing. The first one is to allow growth of bars within the bar. So, where we have the section of legal practice, the MBA SPDEL, MBA SLP. Those sections have come to a point where they are functioning as bars within the MBA. It is to be encouraged. It is to be said that they can go on. But gentlemen, there's a limit to which they can go on. We must continue having the MBA National Conference. And how can we do it? I tasked this class to see how this can be done. One way it can be done is to find out a place like United States of America, where they have plenty of lawyers. How do they hold their conferences such as to accommodate everybody and everybody? I have also said that the encouragement of people to join online the MPA conferences should be done, but that's not the solution anyway. I have also looked at the continuing legal education in the profession. Continuing legal education is a must now. Every lawyer must now clock 5 CPDA credit hours annually to be eligible for renewal of license the next year. But I have pointed out ways and means how continuing legal education should be done. The other area where I found out that we need to do a lot of reform, gentlemen, is the admission of foreign lawyers into Nigeria, the opening of our doors for foreign lawyers to come and practice in Nigeria. Or if an issue is a national, that means it is not restricted to one jurisdiction. It's not restricted to Nigerian jurisdiction alone. It spreads beyond Nigeria. How do we allow foreign lawyers to come and function in those areas? Should we allow that, or should we not allow that? In my view, gentlemen, I think I'm one of the conservative persons that say that Nigeria should close its borders and not allow foreign lawyers to come. If foreign lawyers come, gentlemen, you can be sure that the organizations and companies that have their headquarters outside Nigeria, like MTN, like Airtel, like Mobile, those companies, things are rising out of them will simply go to the foreign lawyers who have come to open offices in Nigeria. And at any rate, Nigerians may have all the skills under the sun. And in arbitration, we see that happen all the time. Nigerians may have all the skills, but the people from the West, they have a way that in any relationship between them and a Nigerian or an African, they have a way of assuming that we don't have what it takes to offer legal service. I think that will happen if we allow foreign lawyers to come to Nigeria. I have also looked at the Nigerian Law School and training of lawyers in the Nigerian Law School. Sometime when a member of this class was the president of the MBA, I had the privilege of leading people to the different campuses of the MBA to assess their preparedness to take in lawyers, particularly the campuses that were being proposed then, Adamawa, I think, and Yenegua. We went and found that there was really nothing on the ground. And we wrote a recommendation that those campuses should not take off until things have been put on ground. But the month, gentlemen, the month that we wrote that recommendation and submitted to the MBA, that was the very month that those two campuses opened their gates and they had students come in. And you find that it's a terrible thing what is happening. When you go to those campuses, they are still like almost what they were. So I have made recommendations here. Now I've looked at the Institute of Advanced Legal Studies. and allied institutions. Gentlemen, if you look at Section 5 of the Nigerian Institute of Advanced Legal Studies Act, surprisingly, that act does not say that the DG should be a lawyer or should be a legal practitioner. So what it means is that anybody can be appointed the Director General of the Institute of Advanced Legal Studies. And sometime in the past, I hear or I know that somebody that was not a legal practitioner, though a lawyer, was appointed the DG. And I think that it shouldn't be. The gentleman that was appointed was a very good gentleman and he did his job well. But it should be a legal practitioner that can be appointed the DG of the Nigerian Institute of Advanced Legal Studies. I've looked at the conferment of ranks, the rank of Senior Advocate of Nigeria. And gentlemen, all the hue and cry that there used to be about appointment of Senior Advocates of Nigeria, I think they have all died down now, because practically everybody who applies and who is qualified gets appointed. However, there's an argument. The argument is, should we be appointing up to
hello, hello. Okay, great.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, guests, my honorable colleagues, gentlemen at the bar. It is my pleasure to introduce the two discussants who are going to analyze the lecture just given. I would introduce the both of them, but I would enjoy us to allow the discussant who is present to start. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce our discussants for the day. The first one, who is unavoidably absent, is Professor Koinsola Ajayi San, who is ably represented by Air Vice Marshal Ibrahim Shafi. I got it. Professor Ajayi, we call him Koin. He's our classmate. He's a towering figure in the legal profession, both as a scholar and a practitioner. He currently serves as managing partner at the prestigious firm Olaniwun Ajayi, and he's also a professor of law at Babcock University. His experience spans litigation, transactional work, energy and infrastructure, project finance, capital marketing, and dispute resolution. His legal expertise has played a key role in significant national reforms, including banking sector restructuring and the privatization of the power sector in Nigeria. On the academic front, Professor Ajayi holds an LLM from Harvard Law School, a PhD from Cambridge University. He was called to the Nigerian bar with us in 1980. And he was also admitted to the English bar in recognition via the Middle Temple in recognition of his outstanding contributions to Nigerian law. And he was then elevated to the rank of Senior Advocate of Nigeria, SAN, in the year 2000. Veering off, but still in connection, he's a presbyter of the Methodist Church of Nigeria with a diploma in theology. He is a poet. He is an author. Given his rich blend of legal experience, academic rigor, and policy insight, all covered with a lot of spiritual insight, we are privileged to have him as our discussant today. He will help us unpack the ideas from the lecture, challenge key assumptions, and spark a thoughtful dialogue. Please join me in welcoming Professor Koinsola Ajayi San. Our next discussant, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, is none other than Mr. Emmanuel Chukwuka Okala, SAN. He prefers that simple appellation. Mr. Emmanuel C. Okala is the head of chambers of E.C. Okala & Co., a firm of legal practitioners based in the city of Port Harcourt, Rivers State, with offices in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. He is an alumnus of the University of Lagos, Nigeria, was called also to the Nigerian bar in 1980. He attained the professional status of Senior Advocate of Nigeria in 1999. He is a trained and practicing arbitrator and attained the status of Fellow of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators in 2004. He has won many law-related awards, including second prize for the best overall performance at the Nigerian Law School 1980.
the Award of Excellence for the Lawyer of the Year 2003 by the Nigerian Bar Association, Port Harcourt, and Distinguished Barman Award of the Nigerian Bar Association, Asaba, for the year 2018. He was the chairman of section on legal practice of the Nigerian Bar Association 2011 to 2013. The founding chairman of the Port Harcourt chapter of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, UK, Nigerian branch. A member of the Nigerian Bar Association, an associate member of the American Bar Association, a member of the International Bar Association. He has served the bar and the legal profession both nationally and internationally in various capacities, including the following capacities: Vice Chairman, African Forum, International Bar Association; Vice Chairman, Nigerian Bar Association, Port Harcourt branch; Chairman, Civil Litigation Committee, Section on Legal Practice of the Nigerian Bar Association; Member, General Counsel of the Bar. He was the Pro-Chancellor and Chairman of the Governing Council of the University of Nigeria. He is a life member of the Body of Benchers and the immediate past chairman of the Legal Practitioners Disciplinary Committee. To add to all this, he personally has a scholarship fund in his name at the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. I give you Mr. Emmanuel Chukwuka Okala. We invite you, sir, Chairman, sir, to... Okay, thank you. It is my pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to invite Air Vice Marshal Ibrahim Shafi. You're welcome, sir.
The chairman of this occasion, my lords, my very seniors, members of the Nigerian Bar Association, good evening. First of all, I convey to you the profound apologies of Professor Koyinshola Ajayi for his inability to be personally present at this occasion. This is an occasion that he so much cherished, and you know him better than I do, that he's a man that always wants to interact, especially with colleagues, to exchange ideas. It was only this morning that Professor Ajayi called to say I should represent him at this occasion, as he would inevitably be unable to make it. So please accept his most sincere apologies. Now, I realize that I have a lot of things to share with this distinguished class. You will be surprised, and my bosses have asked me, how did you come across Koyin? And I know that question I've been asked several times. You, a soldier man, what connects you with Koyinshola Ajayi? Actually, it was, with respect, my senior brother, Ebi Mahmoud, that caused the fight. He never knew. Let me tell you the story briefly. I was the director, legal services at Defense Headquarters, and every year, at every bar conference, we hold sessions. I actually created the Military Law Forum in the MBA when Jabi Daudu, a member of this distinguished class, was the president of the MBA. Suddenly, Ebi Mahmoud became the president of MBA and appointed Koinshola Ajayi to organize the Lagos AGC for him. And in his characteristic manner, Professor Ajayi did not deem it fit to invite the Chief of Defense Staff. Rather, he went and invited the Nigerian Army. So, Colonel Muku is here. Colonel Muku is my boss. I just realized he has walked in here. So, Professor Ajayi went and invited the Nigerian Army, and I looked for his number and I called him. Prof, why should you do that? In the military, we have hierarchy, and you must respect it. He apologized. And then we went to Lagos. I don't know whether my senior brother will remember that conference. There was a little issue about the arrival of the guest of honor, no guest of honor. A day President Buhari came back to the country. And I met Professor Ajayi for the first time in my life. And since then, we mended fences. So when I was retiring, I asked colleagues, look, I want to go back to practice. I want to go and practice. Suggest to me some law firms. I actually had some in mind. I have actually registered my own law firm in my name. But I had Olaniyan Ajayi. I had Yusuf Ali, whom I know very well. Then people said, you can try Olaniyan Ajayi. And that was how I went to the Abuja office, introduced myself, and they asked what I wanted. I said I wanted to read law. That's what I told Muyiwa, my partner then. When he looked at my CV, he now discovered that I was actually called to the bar in 1986. And that was how I became a member of Olaniyan Ajayi, courtesy of the fight caused by my senior brother, Ebi Mahmoud. My other interaction with this distinguished class is to do with Jabi Daudu. If you remember, 40 years ago, Jabi Daudu was in Zaria at Gelesu, one small chambers that was Kusamatu Olojo. I did my law office attachment in the Lagos office. So when I was to do the after law school internship, I went to Dr. Kusama to say, okay, I want to continue what I did with you. And I said, you can go to Zaria. And that was how I met Jabi Daudu, and I was helping him in the chambers. Himself and David Adeluba were sharing one very small office, and that is my other connection. And like I said, when Jabi Daudu became president, we also initiated to introduce the military into the bar, and I created the Nigerian Military Law Forum in the MBA under Jabi Daudu. I'm sorry to disturb you with all this. Professor Ajayi sends his warm regards to all of you, and he wishes you all the very best. Now, the lead speaker has virtually spoken the paper Professor Ajayi asked me to discuss. Let me briefly say what Professor Ajayi says in his paper is that, look, what future do we see for the legal profession in this country? What preparations are we making towards that? That looking at the legal profession globally, it is not a small business. This is almost $1 trillion business. This is almost $1 trillion. Nigeria is nowhere to be found in it. The lead speaker has said we have the largest number of lawyers. By statistics, we have over 213 lawyers that were called to the Nigerian bar since 1963. We have, by research, found that there are about 2,894 law firms across Nigeria. But what is the nature of practice of this law firm? Professor Ajayi identifies that. One of the major problems we have is it appears we are not ready to scale in the global competition of the legal practice. We allow, like the lead speaker has said, We allow foreign firms to dominate the legal market. Should we allow that to continue? Gentlemen, you see, one other thing this class has done is to bring my bosses to this place. So Professor Ajayi believes that we should not continue the way we are doing. That even though Nigeria has the largest number of legal firms and lawyers, but we are not competing favorably with South Africa or Egypt because they have upscaled, they have larger law firms. If you count it in Nigeria, you can hardly find, you can count on your fingers the number of law firms that have up to 50 lawyers. I know that Olaniyan Ajayi has been ranked as, well, with all modesty, the best legal firm in Nigeria. But how many law firms have that number? And Professor Ajayi believes that we have the numbers, we must scale it, we must do something so that we take part in this trillion-dollar business that is available for us to pick. But we are so fragmented. The largest number of law firms are Ibrahim Shafi and Co., Umaru Muku and Associates. So we don't have. If you look at our guy here, Chief Bayojo, I've been hearing Bayojo and Co. since. Sir, I don't want to talk about Dikwa and Mahmoud. I don't want to talk. So Professor Ajayi is saying that this country, we must show our presence. We have the skills, we have the talents, but we must take our pride of place in the legal profession in the future. And so many things have been said that India, for instance, was in the situation we were some 25 years ago. But they have scaled up now. You have law firms that you have 300, 500, 600 lawyers. Why are we still lagging behind? Why are we not proud to have law firms that can compete globally? Now, that is what we must do. That it is doable. Because this country has done it in other sectors of our economy. What was the situation of our communication, telecommunications? What was the situation of our banks before the banking consolidations? There were no international banks. We were all relying on not 9-0 or even landlines. But now the telecommunication industry is an international business that we compete so favorably in. The same thing with the banks. Look at GT, look at Access Bank. So Professor Ajayi believes that we must, if we want to remain relevant, we must. He has suggested some 5 A's. 5 A's to help us do what we should do. First of all, he said we must set the standards. You must set and maintain the standards because you cannot give what you don't have. You must get the skills, maintain the standards, and impart it, drag it, and maintain, let everybody know this is the excellence you are known with. Secondly, the second is he has suggested is that you must scale. We cannot continue to be fragmented. We must remain relevant. We must grow. So we must scale our numbers. We must come into mergers. We must create bigger law firms, more international exposure that will help us do better. Professor Ajayi suggests that you cannot do all this if you ignore the systems. I know almost all of you here are members of the BBC. So you know what BBC means? You are born before computers. So almost all of you are in the BBC class with your apologies. So Professor Ajayi suggests that if you want to remain relevant, you must adopt the systems. How many law firms the prof has told us about the AI? For the good or bad of it, you cannot do without AI. And if you don't do without AI, AI will do without you. That is the reality. So we must find the best way of handling AI. AI is the future of this profession. So we must use the systems. The fourth is, Professor Ajayi suggested, is that if you have the standard, you have the skills, and you have scaled it, you have the systems, then my time is up. Okay. He suggests that you must also try to shield that system. You must showcase it. You can't have it and you don't show it. It will just be like you winking in the darkness. So if you have it, you must showcase. You must showcase that this I have. Nobody will hear of Bayo or Joe and will not shake. Go to the arbitration world. What is our presence, even that? With people like that are well able seated here, what is actually do we take out of the world, even in arbitration that we think we are doing so well, is so negligible compared to what is available in the market for everybody to tap in. The last is suggested by Professor Ajayi is to say that you must shield it. You must shield what you have. First of all, protect it in-house and also shield it against global competition. You must shield it against all the hawks that will come. That we can do this. That if we do this, he is sure the future is there for us. He has made suggestions about what the government needs to do. For instance, more funding for infrastructure for our legal training, not necessarily building buildings or spending expenditure, but the real quality. What is the curricula of our law school now? Is it up to standard? Do they teach them other things besides the things that we have known from Morocco in? Or should they now, in the law school, start teaching people businesses? Give them elements of how to do business. Not that you are going into business, but law is a business in itself, and you cannot do without it. So I know you say my time is up, and I'm ready to say that Professor Ajayi believes that the future is ours to take. Omar. He believes that we have the numbers, we have the skills, we must use it well, we must consolidate, especially to project forward. With your permission, I wish to respectfully welcome my boss, General Chris Abutugarba. You're welcome, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, Air Vice Marshal Ibrahim Shafi representing Koinsola Ajayi SAN. The AVM has proven that he's a security man par excellence. He read the room. He didn't need me to come close. He said, "You're saying my time is up." Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, another heavyweight to take the stage. One of Nigeria's finest legal intellects who will help us also unpack the lecture. Please welcome Emmanuel Ukala, SAN. A round of applause, please.
Well, good evening, my classmates. I would rather stand on the existing protocol in order to not to waste anybody's time. We've spent a lot of time already. Now I'm here supposedly to discuss the paper assessing the Nigerian legal profession in the 21st century, a cry for urgent reforms. Let me start by saying one or two things about the lead presenter, the person of Professor Ekwueme, SAN. I have had the privilege of knowing Professor Ekwueme from his professional crib, almost from the day he was called to bar. And I have watched him grow. And I'm not surprised at the professional adult that he has become. Because he came into the profession with a clear vision and a mission. I knew him from onset as somebody who is very thorough, determined to make a remarkable mark. So when I received the invitation to discuss his paper, mine was going into a state of trepidation because I do not really consider myself qualified and fit to discuss a paper of such an erudite professor. But I'm here, so I will do my best. However you see it, you take it like that. Now, Professor Ekwueme's paper is well researched, detailed, and incisive. Well, of course, as I've introduced him, I never expected anything less. He discussed the topic in 17 broad subheadings. And that is the paper I'm expected to discuss in 15 minutes or less. So you can understand how easy you have made the job. Now, the first subheading relates to MBA, its history, and foremost place in Africa. Under this subheading, he discussed the place of MBA in Africa, and he listed the chairmen, and that is past chairmen and presidents of the Nigerian Bar Association since the time of Sapara Williams of 1888 core to date. He did a very good job of it, except that in between Bayo Ojo, SAN, as president, and the next president was Prince Lanke Odogiyan, that was omitted. He served the term that was supposed to complete the term of Chief Bayo Ojo after he had been appointed Attorney General of the Federation. Now, besides that omission, there's no other error that I can easily find, but I'm sure you would notice that Chief F.R.A. Williams is a QC, not OC, and the same thing with Chief GCM Onyuke. Now, I'm in full agreement with the author in most of the views he shared. But I need to say that the issue of leadership at the bar has its direct impact not only on the legal profession, but on the body politic. In the past, strong leadership of the bar had true voice of dissent and sometimes outright resistance helped to shape and reshape government policies, especially as it relates to draconian laws under the military. I'm sorry to use the language because we have a number of military men with us. My apologies. But we have to say it the way we saw it at that time. And for people like us, our impression has not changed. Now, we were able to use it to fight a number of decrees because the bar had strong voice. The military were not asleep as governments. They studied the bar and they discovered that there's something they could do. they found their way into our ranks. And before we knew it, we started having some of our own presidents appointed into federal government cabinet directly, especially the attorney generals. And that on its own affected our voices. Much as some of them, while in-house, were also doing their best to protect the interests of the NBA, but we found it difficult now to speak with the same strength with which we used to speak in the past. Now, when this started happening, people began to see that sometimes it may be better to join them if you cannot beat them. And perhaps that is the starting point where the independence of the bar started getting seriously eroded. In our time at the National Executive Committee, we even resisted paying courtesy calls to governors when we are holding executive council meetings in their states because we wanted to maintain our independence. But the truth of the matter is that an independent bar ought to be truly independent and should be able to afford its own meals. Unlike what we are now getting, where most of our bars approach government seeking for government intervention, for them to attend conferences, for them to even host their own bar dinners. For goodness sake, if you cannot afford it, then don't engage in it. There's no point trading in the independence of the bar simply because we want to have a jolly good time. And without that independence, it is impossible for the bar to be able to take such positions that can influence policies of governments, especially those that can ensure that there is economic growth in Nigeria. In the absence of that economic growth, you will have that problem of either lawyer underemployment, like the erudite professor spoke about, lawyers now trying to get their juniors to follow them to go and pick eggs in their poultry farms, or not being able to find the right job. If the economy was really doing very well, there will be enough job for everybody, and you will not need to either wait forever looking for employment or to go into a law firm where you are not going to practice law. Now, apart from that, he also highlighted a number of other things. One of the subheadings he dealt with was a single 2-year term at the bar and the often occurrence of election cycles. He also dealt with cost of elections at the bar. I'm going to treat those two together because they are very much related. Now, I agree that the elections being held on a 2-yearly basis is good enough. That is, a person coming to office to spend 2 years is good enough, given the setting of the bar. But the cost of elections is something that we are all bothered about. Now, the point is that over the years, the bar has reviewed and ensured that there were reforms of the electoral process. But have they served us completely well? There was a time that we used to go to conferences, and at those conferences, we did our election, the voting. And it became too cumbersome. We said, no, we are not going to do that anymore. Instead, we are going to have delegates conference. We now elected delegates who then go and vote on our behalf. That on its own was abused. And then thereafter, we decided to go to the general voters again to say, okay, yes, let everybody come and vote, but this time around, let us use electronic voting. Now, with regards to the electronic voting, what we are hearing is that some people have a way of setting up the algorithm in such a way that from the beginning of the election to the end, the choice candidate leads with the same percentage. So if at the beginning, in the first 1 hour, a particular candidate is the choice candidate, is leading with maybe 15%, that 15% is likely to continue till the end of the voting. Now, even the blind man will be able to ask, is there something in this water that I'm drinking? Because even if you don't see it, you are likely to smell it. So, does that provide the solution for us? So, unfortunately, this is more like preaching now. I think that beyond reforms, we need to look within ourselves. Are we continue to do the things the way we used to do it, or are we resolving on our own to make changes? Why does a lawyer need money before he can go and cast his vote? For how long will that money last for him? How much do you really need? You are sitting in your own home. You have your phone. You have your laptop. And with that, you can vote at any time within the voting hour, including at 11 p.m., just a few minutes before the poll closes. What is the expenses you are going to run that will necessitate you selling your soul simply because you want to enjoy a contestant's money? I think we need, first of all, to do that soul searching. Agree with ourselves that we can do better before we can start talking of real reforms. But that notwithstanding, I also think that the method by which we select the service providers that provide services for the election, that is the electronic voting services, we should have a more transparent way of selecting them. And we should put integrity first before such selections are made. So I am sure that when those things are put in place, it will be more difficult for anybody to manipulate the process. The lead speaker did suggest in his paper that there may be need to put a ceiling on election expenses. Of course, that is very, very difficult to monitor. When you are talking about putting ceiling on election expenses, how do you know when somebody is spending money? Even the example he cited in the United States of America, it is even very difficult for governments to be able to check the election expenses. Speak less of situations that we have in our own hands here. So I think that it is better for us to see how we can get better service providers to ensure that the process has integrity. Now, the stemming of the recurrent cases of indiscipline amongst lawyers, especially the elites, I agree that indeed there is a lot that is going on in that direction. But I must say that quite a lot has also happened. The disciplinary process now is much more smoother than it used to be. So much so that it is possible to begin a disciplinary process and complete it within 4 months from the date of complaint to the date of disposal of the matter. It can be done all within 4 months. In some cases, up to 6 months. But it is not like it used to be in those days, which used to be between 8 years and 12 years. So we've come a long way. He suggested that we should bring in non-legal practitioners into the disciplinary committee, that is the LPDC. I beg to differ on that. What is a person from ANA coming to do in deciding whether or not a legal practitioner has been in breach of the ethics of the profession? I do not think they are going to make any reasonable contribution. Now, instead, I would suggest that the court, that is the LPDC itself, should actually be made a disciplinary court. And as a disciplinary court, it should be included in the Constitution, because already appeals from LPDC go straight to the Supreme Court. At least that will give the constitutional backing for that process. Now, the Nigerian Law School and legal training. With regards to Nigerian Law School and legal training, yes, I agree that there is quite a lot to be done there. But as he explained, with regards to the law schools that were opened against the report that they wrote, it is obvious that there is a lot of political influence. And of course, if you come from a place and there is an opening to put a law school in your place, I don't see why you will not want to benefit from it. That is what most people do. That is that political influence. But we had one sad experience in the body of benchers. At the body of benchers, we consider the issue whether or not persons who qualify as lawyers from the Open University and correspondence universities, as some of us call them, should actually be admitted to the law school for the purpose of being called to the bar. The body of benchers debated it and rejected it. But then the political side now came in through the National Assembly. And in less than 2 months, even after they had lost their case in court, in less than 2 months after the debate and the rejection by the body of benchers, the National Assembly passed a law that now permitted the Nigerian Law School to admit them. Now, these are things that we need to see how we can tackle. So they are there already. Now, I noticed that in the paper, some attention was actually not paid to the body of benchers. Body of benchers is so fundamental when it comes to the law, the legal profession, especially in terms of admitting lawyers to practice law and setting the necessary standards. I am of the view that the body of benchers should be introduced into the Constitution, and then so that it will be the body that is setting the standards for people to be admitted to the law school, as well as the standards that will be used in determining whether a person is fit to be called to the bar. Now, the final one I would want to touch on is the judiciary. Of course, everybody knows everything about the judiciary. We read more in the newspapers about the judiciary as more than even we read in the law books. Now, the appointment of judges remains a sore point. But even at that, I'm not one of those that subscribe to the condemnation of appointment merely because the candidate is a member of a family that has a serving judge. Some of the people, even in that category, have what it takes to serve as judges, and that should not disqualify them. But that notwithstanding, I think it is important to have a more transparent approach to selection process. Why shouldn't the vacancies be published? Why shouldn't there be some form of competitive exam? Why shouldn't we be able to engage the services of reputable consulting firms to be able to at least narrow down on which candidates to use before they pass them on to the NJC or whoever is appointing? I think that we can do that. But apart from that, I also want to suggest that we may have to rethink the NJC and the Federal Judicial Service Commission. In a situation where the two of them are headed by the same Chief Justice of Nigeria, I think that there is room for improvement. We may be able to do something better than that. I am of the view that there is nothing wrong with NJC being headed by a former Chief Justice of Nigeria, because after all, the CJN himself can still be subjected to disciplinary action. If somebody writes a petition against the CJN, will she be sitting, or he be sitting as the chairman of NJC and attending to the petition that is written against him or her? I think it is important that we consider that. And finally, banishment. Banishment of wig and gown. I'm sorry, I do not agree. Even if you wear calico, you wear ashoke, you wear ashebi, or whatever you wear to court, you will see sweat. It doesn't require you to wear a wig and gown before you sweat. Yes, I agree that the wig was to hide blemish, but it also transcended from that level to becoming a symbol of honor. So why don't we look at the honor part of it and forget about the blemish it was hiding of, trying to prevent lights from falling out of the hair of the person who is wearing and the bald hair. No, that is not what it is anymore. Today is a symbol of honor, it's a symbol of respect, and I have no issues with it. Instead, if we are looking at what to review in that area, the issue of language that was referred to is an issue that is very important for us to look at. One should speak to express and not speak to confuse. Now, but when you are speaking to confuse, you are not communicating. But we have the legislatures, they've gone around that. The language of legislation today is very plain. You are not having that issue anymore as far as legal drafting is concerned. But for the judges, our own brothers, sometimes we take the issue of technicality too far. We take it too far. And as a result of that, the justice loses its essence in the courtroom. I'm told that the time is up, so let me take a bow. Thank you.
If you agree, he did a great job unpacking that discussion. Please, a round of applause one more time. The very revered Emmanuel Ukala, SAN. All right, very briefly, the next 5 minutes will be dedicated to taking questions and accommodating answers. If we can do that in 5 to 7 minutes, the chairman of committee has said. Are there any questions as regards the lecture and discussions? Any question at all? Okay, the table has 2 questions. I'd want to also plead that we kindly tone down our voices so that we can hear ourselves, especially when people are speaking, please. Good evening, my classmates. Well, I've listened to the lead speaker as well as the two discussants. Well, I belong to the classroom and I want to address the lead speaker. Well, the issue of training at the law school is now a major concern to us because pretentiously, many of the big universities, including those we attended, pretend not to overshoot their quota. Almost all the universities have overshot their quotas. So what we have at the moment is that if your quota is 150, you admit 250. When it's time to go to law school, they restrict you to 150. What do you do with the rest? They are there. The law school itself continue to grant accredit and grant opportunities to new entrants. New entrants in the sense of that we have many private universities coming in. They are also allowed to admit. The law school will now complain that they don't have space. Now, I'm believing that the best way out is that, first of all, we are either unbundle the law school. We must be realistic. Law is not taught in the classroom anymore. I mean, the practice of law is outside, not in the classroom. Today, we compete. We want to compete. In my university, for example, my proprietor is never happy if my students don't come tops at the law school. And I keep telling him that the law school, what is taught in the law school, is different from what is taught in the classroom. He said, why not teach them in the classroom? So as to jettison, at the end of the day, the substantive aspect of law. Now, if we have to continue this way, definitely many of us will stop teaching substantive law and concentrate on practice, which is not our calling. So I believe that I think we have law reformers here too. The law school should be unbundled, and their responsibility will just be like ICANN. You organize exams. People can come from anywhere and come and take the exams. They pass, they move on. They move on. Rather than keep them, house them for 1 year and continue what we do in the classroom and say you are teaching law, practice. Practice in the classroom. I believe practice should be where it is. If you want to kill a lion, you don't sit in Abuja. You go to the bush, the city of Abuja. You find a lion roaming the city of Abuja. You go to Sambisa Forest, you find a lion there. You sit down here and say, yes, I'm hunting a lion. So then with the last one, on the lighter note, with regards to our attire, I think AI recently displayed the Ghanaian system. They said the Ghanaians were wearing their normal kente as a symbol of what did you call it the other times? A symbol of honor. So they were called to the bar. In fact, the judges were even wearing the kente. It was beautiful. We can do something like that rather than continue with what I call the colonial thing that we are priding ourselves in. Please, I support that we do something about it. I tried it with my students, but then they told me their mothers would not agree. No, I tried to ask them, how many of you think we should do away with the wig and gown. They say mommy will not agree. Oh, you mean the day I'm called to the bar, I won't wear wig and gown. Mommy will not agree. Well, so mama lawyer, I'd agree to now. Thank you.
All right, just to crave your indulgence for contributions and questions, 2 minutes each have been allotted.
Good evening, classmates. My name is Namonso Eka, advocate of Nigeria. Mine is, would I say, comment or observation? And I'm happy that our classmates that are senior advocates are not doing this. I started the practice under the late Abdullah Ibrahim Ese. And we knew of FRA, Joke Ajayi, and others, Jabi in that class. We never saw things like JB Majagbe, SAN, and Co. Suddenly, we are seeing this funny thing. Put a name, SAN, and Co. And the way some senior advocates carry themselves, suddenly now, once you are a senior advocate, you can't even carry a diary from the table in the law court. You can't even carry a phone. And suddenly they are having orderlies. You see senior advocates, once you are a senior advocate, now you have a mobile policeman sitting in front of your car with your driver. Those are strange things. And I think we should emphasize that. Those are observations I've noticed that I think is not right. And very recent, we are beginning to see, once you are a senior advocate, the next thing is a professor. A professor that has not been in the academy just because you are a senior advocate. Those are strange things that we are noticing. So I thought I should bring it up here. And I'm very happy that my brother silks in our class are not doing such. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just before I hand over the mic, a clarion call again. Please let's tone down our voices while contributions are being made. Chief Amobi says that before I hand over the mic, I must make his point known that the profession has adopted wig and gown from time immemorial. If you don't want to be a part of it, okay.
Thank you very much. I am Johnson Esizobo, all protocol observed. My contribution, first on issue of wig and gown. I am in support of wig and gown as a mark of honor. I will give personal experience because talking about reforming the legal profession, we must reform ourselves first. Our attitude, our character, our disposition, our conduct, they all matter a lot before we can reform a system or anything we want to reform. Some of our judges these days are working and or acting under pressure. And you can see it in the manner they conduct cases in court. I had this personal experience of a judge asking me, what am I saying in my submission? A written submission, in a written address. And I said, it is in the written address there. And he said I was talking back at him. And he said I should remove my wig and go into the dock. And I said, my Lord, with all due respect, I will not go into this dock otherwise than in my wig and gown. He said, no, you have lost that respect. So you see what it means to talk of honor, that the wig and gown command. He said, no, you have lost that respect. Remove your wig and go into the dock. I said, my Lord, with all due respect, I will not go in there otherwise than in my wig and gown. He now ordered his police orderly to drag me out of the bar into the dock. And the police orderly moved to the bar. As he got close, he stopped. And I think that was divine intervention. I said, drag him out of. The man was looking at him and looking at me. At a point, the judge was now tapping his something. He said he was going to ask all the orderlies of all the judges in Lagos State, in the court premises, about 20 of them, to come and drag me out of the bar into the dock. We were looking at ourselves until he now said something. He said, any lawyer who has practiced under a judge in Lagos State within 10 to 15 years will know the disposition of a judge. I then knew that I was making a mistake. He thought I was 10 or 15. So I said, my Lord, with all due respect, I'm not 10, I'm not 15, I'm 36. That was when I was 36. Yes, he said, no wonder, that's why you were talking back at me. I said, no, my Lord, even if I'm older than you, once you are there, there's a gulf between us. I cannot be disrespectful. That was what God used to intervene that day to save the embarrassment. When I left, I now wrote to the chief judge, this is what your judge did today. Please call him to order, because I will not ask you to transfer this case from him. I will still come and do my case before him. If he will not caution himself, when next I'm coming, I will rent some area boys as to protect me. If he tries that again, the area boys will swat on him. That was what happened in that. In another case, the judge is now at the Court of Appeal. Like I said, this point I want to emphasize. Many of our judges are working under pressure. The counsel on the other side filed a motion ex parte to restrain us from doing certain things unknown to us. My clients had come and said, we heard that they were going to get an order today. I said, I have not been served with any motion. And then truly when we got to court, the lawyer stood up and said, I have a motion before the court. And the judge said he should move the motion. I said, we have no motion. Nobody has served us a motion. And he said it was ex parte. I said, but how can you take a motion ex parte on a matter that is for hearing today? No motion informing us of what we are doing that is offensive. At the end of the day, after some argument and all that, if he saw that she could not take that motion, and then I applied that either you asked them to put us on notice, or I applied that you strike it out. The judge did not do either of this. He left the motion on record to a subsequent date when he used that motion to seek to embarrass us. But the important thing I want to say here, as soon as the judge rose, the lawyer walked up to me to want to beat me up in court. He said I frustrated by my argument their motion. Well, I'm a smallish man. I am a smallish man. He would have beaten me up. So I I kept quiet. Make small boy not go beat me up. The judge was later to make an order that reflected what that motion was asking for. And it created a lot of heated argument in court and all that. But subsequent events showed that the judge actually was working under pressure. At the end of the day, when he was going to deliver the final judgment, the judge said, and I quote, that my attitude in the proceedings was this, and that, but that he had forgiven me. I said, me, I don't understand this one. No. Because I expect that a judge should be courageous enough to tell the counsel if his attitude is wrong, if his conduct is wrong, and comment on it. If you cannot call the council to enter the dock to answer to some questions, let me not take too much of your time. Thank you very much. So we must reform ourselves first before we can reform the system.
Thank you very much for not taking too much of my time or our time. He has promised that he doesn't need 2 minutes. He wants just 1 minute. Your time starts now.
Distinguished colleagues and our revered guests, my name is Obafemi Adewale, SAN. I just have one appeal to make to our colleagues. We are all distinguished in our different rates, but we do not have enough politicians amongst us in this set. If we are talking about reforms, our colleague Isi Ukala mentioned just now that we passed the resolution at the body of benchers. And within 2 months, the National Assembly went ahead and did the opposite. If we had had more members amongst them in the National Assembly, they probably would have been better informed about what led to that particular resolution. I want to appeal to us in our respective constituencies, in our wards, in our local governments, in our states. We need legislators amongst us at all levels. You are never too old to go to the Senate. We need governors amongst us. We need legislators, we need commissioners, we need ministers, more ministers than we have had. We are all proud of Boss Mustafa here. Why can't we have more of him amongst us? So it's just an appeal to all of us. It's never too late. Please get involved in politics and also encourage others to play their part. Thank you very much.
And the question was asked, sir. Sir, a question was asked. They said, at what age?
It's, as I already said, I said it's never too late. Chief Adeba Adefas, became a governor at 72. Donald Trump is almost 80. So it's never too late. We are not too old. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think I hear whispers that he has been nominated. Okay, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I think we're done with the contributions. We're going to present plaques now, but just before that happens, I'd like to take this special time out, if we can have one house, please, to quickly run through a few more recognitions. Ladies and gentlemen, former SGF, Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic, Boss Mustafa, please let's put our hands together for him. Former Chairman MBA, AB Mahmoud. Former President, sincere apologies. Sincere apologies. Former President, MBA, Mahmoud Abubakar, and his lovely wife, Justice Patricia Mahmoud of the Court of Appeal. Please let's put our hands together for them. General Chris Garuba and his wife, Mrs. Rita Garuba. Please let's put our hands together for them.
Distinguished colleagues, I ask that amongst ourselves there are some very important people that have made serious achievement, which is an achievement for this class of 1980. People like Boss Mustafa, people like A.B. Mahmoud, and I particularly said they should mention General Chris Garba. General Chris Garba is one of the Nigerians that we all respect. They are the people who made sacrifice so that this country can remain one. And I believe that he has been a very strong pillar to his wife, who is also a classmate. So I believe that since he has taken time to be with us today, as a member by marriage of class 1980, he should also be recognized. Please, sir, can you stand up for, for all of us to appreciate you? This is General Chris Garba, a man that fought the civil war to keep Nigeria one, a man that was completely incorruptible. I've respected him all along, and all of us do respect you, sir. You are welcome to the. Well, you will also agree with me that class of 1980 has produced many people, ministers, traditional rulers, and I mentioned Barrister Bashir Wali simply because he is now also one of the key traditional title holders in Kano. And I think that's an achievement for this class of 1980. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in fact, I'm so overwhelmed. Some of you, I have not seen you since 1980. Some of you have not seen me also since 1980. But I'm very, very happy all of us are here today. Those of us who are not here today, I believe they are here with us in spirit. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Can you clap for yourselves? My colleague has mentioned politics. Those of us who veered from private practice to politics, we have also, in our own way, particularly myself and Boss Mustafa, made this class proud. I was minister twice. I was Attorney General once. I was also Deputy Governor for 8 years. And Boss Mustafa crowned it all by becoming the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. Kudos to the class of 1980. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, sir. Okay, yes.
I want to apologize to you. We also had a former Attorney General of the Federation in this class of 1980. Kudos to you. Eh? His wife, sorry, his wife. Oh, it was his wife. I see. Okay, I apologize to you for mixing it up also.
Mukhtar Shehu Shagari, Esquire, CFR, Chairman of Occasion, thank you very much for giving honor to whom it is due. I think one question was raised, and it's only fair that we allow for a response from the guest lecturer, if the guest lecturer will kindly oblige us as regards time management, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Gentlemen, I realize that we're eating now, and we may not pay all the attention. But I just want to respond to an issue that was raised by the gentleman down there. And that issue is the pressure that the proprietor of his university seems to be putting on him as a lecturer or as a law teacher. If anybody takes time to read the paper that we presented, one of the things that we said there is that the birth of new universities who are struggling to impress parents and impress everybody that their universities are very wonderful universities, the birth of those universities and the inability of the law teachers there to stand on what is right, it has also lowered standards. And you now have a situation where first-class degrees are being awarded as if first-class degrees are things you just go to the stream and pick. There were, in those days, anybody that made a 2-1 in the university was noted to be a very good student. And if anybody made a 2-1 in the law school, he was known to be a very good student. You could not joke with that. But now we have all sorts of persons who are making first class. And sometimes when you engage those first class materials in a discussion, you are not very proud after that. Of course, there are first class materials who have been awarded first class, all right? But the point we are making to that gentleman is, Augusta, stand on what you know to be right, whether the proprietor likes it or not. Because this is our profession, we have to defend it. Maybe the man is not a lawyer, maybe he's a lawyer, but we have to defend this profession. Otherwise, we're getting to a situation where somebody makes a first class in Nigeria and he goes outside and is required to write an exam before he can be admitted for LLM. It never happened before, but it's because we are awarding all sorts of first class. I think I want to stop there, except to say that this class is blessed to the kind of human beings I have seen here. From A.B. Mahmoud, everybody. Okay, Bayoje came because his wife, a justice of the Court of Appeal, is here, right? And then there are others. You have a number of senior advocates that I don't know. Maybe you are competing with the 78K set as who has that's your class. Who has the more number of senior advocates? But gentlemen, where I'm going to is, please, you have a responsibility as a class to help this profession from where it is sliding into. If this profession is not helped, you may come back in 10 years' time and you find out that the profession is no longer what it used to be. It is sliding very dangerously, and we need to do something about it. God bless you, Mars and Sars. Thank you.
Thank you very much, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, legal minds. We move to the presentation of plaques. And while the excellence continues, we'll present plaques to our lecturer and our distinguished discussants. Frank, the tenor, will serenade us as we appreciate them. But just before that, I'd like to invite for the presentation Lanre Oyetunji Esquire. A resounding round of applause for him as he makes his way forward. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Class 85 Nigerian Law School, and in particular the Planning Committee, I have the honor and privilege to make this presentation
to our guest lecturer, Professor Andrew Chukwumeri, SAN, for his lucid presentation, well-delivered lecture, and well-illustrated. The class is most grateful to you for your time and for this great lecture. Mr. Chairman, distinguished learned colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, the next presentation is to Mr. Emmanuel C. Ukala, SAN, one of our very own, for his contribution to the lecture delivered by the guest lecturer. We quite appreciate you. We wish you well. This presentation is for Professor Koinsola Ajayi, SAN, one of the discussants, also one of our own, and ably represented by Air Vice Marshal Ibrahim. I think I'm correct? Well done. Give our regards to him. Wish him speedy recovery. My task is done.
Thank you very much. One more time, let's put our hands together for all of the recipients of the awards. Frank Deteno.
Have to say a word to you. You seem to know whatever mood I'm going through. Feel as though I've known you forever.
You can look into my eyes and see the way I feel and how the world is treating me. Maybe I have known you forever. Amigos para siempre means you'll always be my friend. Amigos para siempre means a love that cannot end. Friends for life, not just a summer or spring. Amigos para siempre. I feel near me even when we are apart. siempre.
We share memories I won't forget, and we share more, my friend. We haven't started yet. I'm alive when we are together.
When I look at you, I wonder why there has to come a time when we must say goodbye. I'm alive when we are together. Amigos para siempre, means you'll always be my friend. Amigos para siempre means a love that's gonna end. Friends for life, not just a solo spring. Amigos para siempre. I fear even when we are apart. Just only you are and this one can warm my heart. Friends for life, not just a summer or a spring. Amigos para siempre. I look at you, I wonder why there has to come a time when we must say goodbye. I'm alive when we are together. Amigos para siempre, means you'll always be my friend. Amigos para siempre means a love that's gonna end. Friends for life, not just a summer or a spring. Amigos para siempre. I feel even when we are apart. Just only you are in this world from my heart. Friends for life, not just a summer or a spring. Amigos para siempre. Amigos para siempre. "45 years of lore, a legacy so bright. Class of 1980, shining with honor and justice. Through triumphs and trials, we've stood as one. Nigerian Law School, class 1980, our bond won't be undone. The Nigerian Legal Foundation, our crossroads is the team. We have gathered as one to celebrate 4 decades and the fight.
Frank the tenor, ladies and gentlemen. One more time, a resounding round of applause. And Ekwueme blesses him. Ladies and gentlemen, while that was on, we had the pleasure of receiving Mazi Afam Osigwe, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, President, NBA. A resounding round of applause as we welcome him. You're very much welcome, sir. With the presentation of plaques done and, of course, that rendition by Frank the tenor, up next, we hear from the alumni, the roots that shaped the legal giants in this room, please prepare for the goodwill messages from the law faculties, ladies and gentlemen. We'll leave it open, but of course we know that we will hear from the president, NBA, but to allow him settle in first. If you have a goodwill message, the floor is open for you. But I will start with the former Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Chief Bayo Ojo, whose wife is a member of class. He has a goodwill message to present. Can we please welcome him in style? Round of applause, please.
The chairman of today's occasion, and let me stand on all existing protocols. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, when my wife extended the invitation for me to attend this event, by the way, I'm not 1980 set. I belong to the 1978 set of the law school. And some people call it the mafia set. I don't know about that. So when she invited me to be here, I was very excited for three reasons. The first reason was the topic of the lecture, which is Nigerian Legal Foundation at Crossroads. Of course, that will excite me because I've been a past president of the Nigerian Bar Association and the former Minister of Justice and Attorney General. So I was very, very interested in that particular topic. The second thing was that, or is that, it will afford me opportunity to see old friends. And so many old friends are here. I don't want to start calling names. You all know yourself. And the last point is that ever since this class set was formed, I can't recall when it was formed, my wife has always harassed me about the achievements of the 1980 set. And any little thing she will say, oh, we'll have so number of people in the court of appeal, so number of people doing this, and so on and so forth. But on each occasion she did that, I tried to restrain myself from talking about the achievements of the 1978 set. And finally, even though she went to University of Ife, I went to the University of Lagos. And I always reminded her, I said, look, there are only two universities in Nigeria, University of Lagos and others. Any great Akoka here, please raise up your hand. So, I want to thank God for your lives, all of you. It's been 45 years, and you've been alive and kicking. You've made various successes and achievements in your different fields of endeavor. So as you gather here today to reconnect, to reflect, to celebrate your time in the law school. By the way, I tried to calculate the number of days you spent. And I found that you spent 16,324 days in the law school and 324,000 hours. But the days went into millions, so I leave that out. So as you celebrate your time at the law school, it is my fervent wish that this reunion will strengthen the bond you all shared at that time. Let today ignite even greater purpose in the years ahead. Congratulations for 75 years. And I wish you, 45 years, and I want to wish you 45 more years ahead. Thank you very much.
Very soft-spoken. One more time, a round of applause for former Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Chief Bayo Ojo. I'm tempted to say greater cockite. I should say greater cockite. Great Ife. Sir, let's not start that battle. I was going to call my school, but we'll leave it for another day. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we'll take more goodwill messages, a few more. Yes, ma'am? ABU wants to give goodwill. Oh, I should say ABU. Oh, naturally ahead, of course. Ladies and gentlemen, General Chris Abutu Garba is stepping forward to give a goodwill message. A round of applause. Anya, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The chairman of the 45th reunion of the class of 1980. I salute you. Distinguished members of the class, I am delighted to be at this occasion tonight. And you'll be wondering why I'm here. Well, I have been harassed by one of you, one of the members of this class, who happens to be my wife. And since you started your reunion, I could hardly sleep on my bed, because she kept asking me I must come and attend the reunion of the class. And I wondered what was special about this class. But she convinced me, and I also know that in my own discipline, in my own military, I have a class, and we're very proud of our annual reunion. Just as you belong to the class of 1980, which finished from the Nigerian Law School, we in the military, I belong to the class of 1967, the Nigerian Defense Academy class of 1967. And I think we are now 58 years since that time. And we usually celebrate every year. I think we have some similarities or commonalities with your course. The courses that end up with 45 years seem to have many, many things in common. Just as your course, showed some presence in the governance of our country at various levels, I must admit that my course also, if I mention names, I'm sure you will recognize those names. We were not as many as your course. I understood we were about 500 that graduated from all over the universities in Nigeria and abroad. We were only 45 who graduated from the Nigerian Defense Academy. And like your course, we made our marks in different areas
of governance of our country. We had, when we retired, we had about 4 senators. In fact, one of my members, one of our course members, was Senate President for 8 years. David Mark, I'm sure you know him. He was my colleague, my classmate. We had others who were Ekwueme field commanders in Sierra Leone and Liberia. We had about 5 of them. We had also 1 or 2 who were United Nations Force commanders outside Nigeria. Yours sincerely happens with one of them in Angola in 1992 to 1995. We also had about 10 who served as military governors and military administrators at one time or the other. We also had many ministers, about 7 of them, who served as ministers. So our course can be likened to the law school class of 1980. We have many similarities. That was what informed me to agree, to consent to attend your gala night. Even though I was harassed many times by my wife, I could have refused to, but I agreed to come, to show up, so as also to catch up with many of my friends. Because I know many people on this course. I know the last speaker, Bayo Joe. I know, well, he was class of 78. I know Shagari. I know Boss Mustafa. I know well, I know many of you. Olajumoke was my good friend, and I think many more. Anyway, I'm glad to be here, and I like to identify with this cause because I think you've made your mark in Nigeria. I appreciate your contributions to our country, and I pray that with all the ability and capability that you have, I believe you can do more. Your course has produced many ministers, ministers of justice, ministers of water resources, ministers of, and attorney generals and so forth. You've done very well, and the country is proud of you. I'd like to wish you a very happy reunion. I wish you many more years, and I hope that you do another 45 more years in the years ahead. Congratulations to you all, and may God bless this cause. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Have you noticed that one thing that is recurrent with the men is the fact that they've been harassed a lot? So for the women who are doing the job, let's put our hands together for them. He's telling his wife, you see. I said I didn't want to start the battle of institutions. Now I have put myself in trouble. I want to humbly recognize all members of the prestigious UNN present here, the lions and lionesses. Oh, now I'm talking. I was going to say all of those from Kogi State University, but I said, let me respect myself. It's unfair when you do that. I said I thought to respect myself. He said Kogi. Madam Rona, you want me to come? Okay, there's a goodwill message. Okay, very well. Dr. Ogwago.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, lawyers, it's a real pleasure to be here. when I was invited to come, 45 years set, I was almost intimidated. I said, lawyers. The invitation was from my formidable younger sister. Lawyers, I believe, put it to you and then put you in jail somehow. So I said, let me be on my best behavior. So you can see I dressed demurely in what I thought would be black, and then I come, I see beautiful colors all over the hall. But however, it is a pleasure to be here, representing what I believe is perhaps the real noble and distinguished profession before the lawyers joined us, the medical profession. And solidly refusing to be intimidated because I'm older than you. I'm almost 50 years post-graduation. But it's a pleasure to be here. I've enjoyed every minute of it. I've listened to the erudite lectures. I've listened to the analysis. And I'm impressed by the way, despite the many years, you're forging ahead trying to make the legal profession in Nigeria a better one. I think I have lessons to take back to the medical profession. The last dinner we had, I think we needed to imbibe a bit more of what you did here today. I've also thoroughly enjoyed the food. It was so good. So it's a pleasure. Please remember to invite me again next time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you. All right, before the next goodwill message, ladies and gentlemen, before the next goodwill message, I realized that we had recognized the man who has led since he was born because his parents saw the qualities and named him boss. We had recognized him without his boss because despite the fact that he is boss Mustafa, there is a boss. Ladies and gentlemen, Olufunmilayo Mustafa, his beautiful wife. Please let's put our hands together for her. Sincere apologies, ma, for recognizing you a bit late. You know, while I was going to get married, I was very excited. And I told myself, I'm going to take charge. Now that I'm getting married, I'm in charge of somebody's child. But ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you that I'm not even in charge of the remote in my house. While you are trying to watch football, they are watching Africa Magic Yoruba, and you cannot do anything about it. And I am happy to learn that my fathers, even honorable ministers, are in that same shoe. They get harassed sometimes too, so it's fine. I have learned from you tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome, with so much respect, Mazi Afam Osigwe, SAN President, NBA, to give his goodwill message. A round of applause, please.
Thank you so very much. Mr. MC, you may not be in charge of the remote in your home, but in charge of this particular microphone. I've seen some past presidents of the NBA here, some judges of the Court of Appeal, but then permit me to adopt the already established protocol. When one is a gathering of people who were called to the bar 45 years ago, one has to tread cautiously to avoid making a mistake or offending any person. I did the math, and I realized I was just 8 years old and in primary 2 when you were called to the bar. So, I mean, to be allowed into your presence is in itself a great honor. And I'm very grateful for that. And I'm also joining you in expressing gratitude and thanksgiving to God that even though you are all called to the bar 45 years ago, which means that nobody here is less than 60 years. You're all in good health, in good spirit, and you're able to make the journey to this place, and you're excited to be part of this reunion. And you're also making the best of the reunion to worry about the legal profession and asking the dinner speaker to talk about a cry for help after assessing the state of the legal profession. I dare say that was actually an expo, though. Cheating. You are assessing it and you're already crying out for help. So you have already jumped to conclusion. Forgive me if I'm being imprudent in saying that. But just to say that it's always a delight to have classmates come together like this and also reminisce about the past and have some time to talk about the future. The future may not mean so much to you as much as it means to us who are coming behind you, your children, and possibly your grandchildren and great-grandchildren. But the profession means so much to you that it cares about what happens to it. And you have made this trip to Abuja for those of you who don't live here, not because you have no better place to be or something better to do, but because of the love for the profession. And I dare say that I join you in praying that God will continue to give you good health and also continue to be with you so that whatever number of years God may have assigned to you, you spend them in good health, in peace and joy, and that no harm shall befall you. And that you have many more reunions like this, and that those of us who are coming behind you would also be able to celebrate our 45th and 50th call to the bar anniversary. And to say that you have my best wishes, and will always look up to you for guidance, for your advice. And everything we do, the profession counts before any other thing. And to once more express my gratitude that you thought it was important not only to have me, who was just 8 years ago, like I said earlier, when you were called to the bar, be here to say a few things. Before I was called up, I looked at the program and I saw that about 520 of you were called to the bar. And that about 116 of your numbers have gone to be with the Lord. And I was shocked to note that amongst that number is my late principal, Chief Chikechi Buesen. But the important thing is that we're all here, not because we are better than them, but that because it was God's decision. And whatever is left of the number of years we spend on earth, we are committed to make the best of it for the profession. And to say, I wish you well, and also pray that when you all go back, you go back safely, and nothing will happen to you. You continue to be in good health. And I also hope that when I cease to be NBA president, you'll find me worthy to invite me to your subsequent reunions. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much. What a good way to end the speech. Ladies and gentlemen, to speak on behalf of the University of Ife faculty, Femi Ifaturoti. Sharif. Another round of applause for him. He looks very sharp.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you today on behalf of the great University of Ife, undisputably Africa's most beautiful campus. And when you talk about the great University of Ife, it's not just about physical beauty. It's also about academic excellence. It's about comportment. It's about decorum. It's about decency. That is how we were groomed. Am I lying? So on behalf of my colleagues at the Ife faculty, of course, that's another thing entirely. If I want to start, we won't leave here today. Here is the faculty in which we had the privilege of being taught under the tutelage of the great Professor Ijalaye of blessed memory, the great Professor Adesoya, who taught us evidence, senior advocate, the great Professor Sage, who is still alive, the great Professor on, what's the name? Papa Okunuga. I remember him very well. You have to be up and doing to pass Papa Okunuga's law of equity. So those are the kind of situations in which we were groomed and we were prepared for the law practice that we eventually came to and we excelled in. I can see in front of me Justice of the Court of Appeal, Onyekachi, Otisi, Professor Sola Ajayi, who was supposed to be here with us but would not be here. Jide Kennedy Johnson, retired judge of the Lagos State bench. Lanre Oyetuji, Ale Ruchi Kukigam, and who else? Name them. They have volunteered to serve, as members of the committee that put together, this beautiful gathering that we all are. And who else? Oh, Frances, yes. Oh, Frances, I'm sorry. Frances, yes. She's part of the committee too, is she? Yes. The first lady. First Lady Frances, yes. So, on behalf of all of us who went to that great institution, those who are here, those who could not be here, and those who, because they have laid down their mortal frames and they've been gathered with their ancestors, are also unable to be here, I give. Who is the person? So I say thank you to the organizers of this beautiful event and for a job well done. I guess that's all. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. Very well done. I think that'll be it for goodwill messages. Sincere apologies. Sincere apologies.
When you're at the best, you don't make too much noise. University of Lagos. Do I have to call names? I see all of them around here. Justices of the Court of Appeal, Supreme Court, different places. We're here. The Ife people shout and shout really loud. We don't make that much noise. So they know we are the best, kind of. Thank you, all of you, for coming, and it's a great pleasure to be here with our classmates and friends. Thank you so much.
We're taught one thing in the business of public speaking. Say the best speakers keep it short and simple. Thank you very much for doing that, sir. UNN, please. University of Nigeria, Nsukka. Ladies and gentlemen, another reminder to please tone down our voices as we'll continue to have speakers. Please, let's tone down our voices. Can we please settle down? Thank you. Respectfully, please, let's tone down our voices. Thank you. UNN.
Thank you so much. So, I am going to do something different. Speaking on behalf of UNN, is that possible? University of Nigeria, the only Nigerian university, the only one that has Nigeria appended to it. Great lions and lionesses, are you here? Good. Can any one person speak on behalf of a lion? No. So come out, wherever you are. Led by Justice Anyanwu, Justice of the Court of Appeal. That was her university. Rona, Margaret, Egoro, come out and stand beside me. I can't speak on behalf of lions and lionesses. Chuma, where are you? It will only take a minute, don't worry. Good evening, sir. Good to see you. Yes. Yes. Yeah. all the time. We look different. No, don't worry. Don't worry. Nena is here. Oh my God. Oh my God. Beautiful. Special. Special. Ijema, where are you? Well, you had your opportunity. So, on behalf of the University of Nigeria, we congratulate ourselves on this laudable achievement. 45 years as successful legal practitioners. Milord is standing right behind me. She's not 45 years. She's 46 years. But I just wanted to tell you, achievements, there's so many. We have so many of them in the bench. Ladies and gentlemen, it is our pleasure to be associated with this class. Oh, please, I am going, Igwe is here. So we're everywhere. Huh? Some of us have joined the traditional line. Igwe is here. So on behalf of ourselves, we are representing lawyers from the University of Nigeria. We are congratulating our colleagues and friends on this laudable achievement here. We're also all part of the planning committee. So we made this happen. We made this happen. We worked hard to make sure you enjoy yourselves this evening. So thank you for coming. Thank you. We don't take your coming for granted. We're happy. We're happy you're here. And we're proud of our alma mater. We would have sung for you, but let's leave this for another time. Alma mater. We are the only university that has a song.
Thank you very much. May we please settle down once again. The tempo is rising. We'll get to our climax very shortly. Mr. Chairman has asked that we please cease goodwill messages, as some of our very esteemed guests are already pressuring him because time is spent. Can we give, Mr. Chairman, sir, with due respect, can I ask that we give 1 minute to ABU, please? ABU. Yes, 1 minute. Ahmadu Bello University. Representatives? Sir? Okay, sir. IGP.
Well, a very good evening, distinguished friends, colleagues, classmates. I've been asked to speak on behalf of my colleagues and classmates from Ahmadu Bello University. We have quite a number here. Boss Mustafa, one of us. His Excellency, Mukhtar Shagari. I think we have the Wali Kano as well. We have Tijani Borodo, sitting somewhere. Maku, Colonel Maku, retired. Titi, Mariam Kau, is she here? Bilkisu Abdul Malik, is she here? Who else have I missed? Sorry? Oh, my Lord Justice Jummai Sankey, Justice of the Supreme Court. apologies, I didn't see you earlier this evening. So you can see it's quite a formidable class. Jabi Daudu, my colleague and friend, who was also former president of the bar, is unavoidably absent. I understand he was bereaved, so he had to travel to Kaduna. So I'm sure he would have been here with us, but for this unfortunate situation. So on behalf of my dear colleagues and friends, I would like to congratulate all of us for this landmark event. And I will especially thank our colleagues who have taken all the trouble to organize this event and make it such a memorable one. The activities have been fun right from the first day on Thursday, I believe it was, up to this grand climax. And also like to thank Professor Andrews for your very insightful presentation, as well as Koinshola, represented by Air Marshal Ibrahim Shafi, and of course Emmanuel Okala. I'm glad that all of these issues have come up, and I'm sure that the organizers will find a way of conveying some of these points and suggestions that have come out of these presentations to the leadership of the Bar Association, so that they can be taken on board in obviously what is now a major point of concern, the future of the legal profession. During my time as president, we spent a lot of time looking at some of these challenges, from the regulatory framework to some of the issues around training of lawyers, admission to the bar. Just a few days ago, I was discussing with a friend of ours, and he reminded me that this year alone, we have called 11,000 lawyers to the bar. Now, I think that's about the largest on the continent and perhaps globally. So the legal profession in Nigeria is expanding at a phenomenal rate. And I'm not sure the opportunities are expanding at the same rate. But whatever the case, I think the presentation earlier this evening, along with other discourses that have been going on, really sort of point to their need for review of the profession. Some of the framework for the regulation of the bar, I think, have long outlived their usefulness. When somebody talked about the body of benches, for instance, I always wondered whether the body of benches is really properly structured to regulate the profession. I think we need to be looking at some of those issues. So it's not just the attire that the professor talked about that are really central, but some of the fundamental foundations shaping the profession. When the profession started a couple of decades back, I think there were a handful of lawyers. So it was easy to perhaps see that the regulation can be done in a much different sort of framework than this. But when you have 11,000 lawyers joining the profession every year, and probably more, then it really does say that we have to look at this again. So Prof, thank you for bringing this, but also thank you to the organizers for really pointing to this direction. And I think this has been very, very useful. For me, this has been the highlight of the week events. And I do hope that we'll take away a lot of these issues and channel them into the appropriate decision-making avenues. So on behalf of my colleagues, I want to thank everyone, and I want to congratulate everyone. And I do hope that we'll continue to keep this momentum and also look forward to future celebrations. And as we depart, I hope that we'll put our colleagues who are no longer here with us in prayers. I remember them for all the camaraderie and the history we've shared in the past. So thank you, distinguished colleagues, and thank you very much for this wonderful event. Thank you.
It would have been a disservice to not let AB, you present that beautiful goodwill message. One more time, a round of applause, please. Ladies and gentlemen, if we will, we can please settle down and charge our glasses. We're about to raise our glasses, and this is the heart of every great anniversary. Toast to class of 1980. For that, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Obafemi Adewale SAN for the toast to the iconic class of 1980. If we can please charge our glasses and have some more drinks served. A round of applause as he makes his way forward. Obafemi Adewale SAN. Life bencher, yes indeed.
Distinguished colleagues, I will urge our very respected guests to please be upstanding while the members of the 1980 set are seated. Our revered, our respected guests, please, our husbands, our wives, our friends, my Lord Justice, all our friends, please, this 1980 set of the Nigerian Law School, a very special set, a very distinguished set, a highly celebrated set, reform-oriented, progressive, forward-looking, and in all things, a set of excellence. Please raise your glasses and join us to the toast of the class of 1980 of the Nigerian Law School to good health, to long life, to continued prosperity, and to better friendships. Cheers, everybody.
You may click your glasses. You may please click your glasses. We're going to have a series of toasts. So as we conclude this, up next, ladies and gentlemen, is the toast to the Nigerian Law School. The toast to the Nigerian Law School will be proposed by the distinguished Dame Aleruchi Kuki Gam. Please, let's put our hands together. Can I say great Ife?
My lords, the chairman of the occasion, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to propose a toast for the Nigerian Law School, a school that was set up in 1962. Nigerian Law School is 63 years old, and we're celebrating 45 years of graduating from the Nigerian Law School. If you look in the program, you would see that when we graduated from the Nigerian Law School, we were 522 students. Today, in 2025, Nigerian Law School graduated nearly 11,000, 10,000 something. Isn't that a fantastic feat? When the Nigerian Law School was established, it was in Lagos. We were privileged to be part of those who attended the Nigerian Law School in Lagos. Today, Nigerian Law School has 7 functional, I think 14 campuses have been approved. I don't know how many are operational. Like my brother said, the phenomenal growth of the Nigerian Law School is to be celebrated. We don't have the DG here. But if you know you graduated from the Nigerian Law School, be upstanding so that you can join me in celebrating a school that made all of us who we are today. To Nigerian Law School, to many more years of successes, to greater achievements for the Nigerian Law School. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Many more years of success for the Nigerian Law School. As I mentioned earlier, a series of toasts have been planned out for the night. So it's okay to not move too far from your circle, because we'll do this 2 more times. Thank you very much. If we may begin to settle down, please. Thank you. Now, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, representing patriotism in its legal form, Offiong SAN will lead the toast to the Federal Republic of Nigeria. All right, I guess I'll confer with the chairman of planning committee on that. Photographers, please. We'll just give a few seconds for the chairman to confer. Ladies and gentlemen, Nena Ejekam will toast to the Federal Republic of Nigeria. If we can grab a drink for you, please.
My lords, my distinguished classmates, the chairman of this wonderful occasion. It is truly great to be a Nigerian. The this is a great and wonderful country which has not achieved its full potential. In these 45 years, we've seen what it is to belong to a great and wonderful country. When we were abroad, our greatest joy when we received one insult after the other was to remember we came from somewhere. We have a home. I had a very, very great contempt for a lot of our foreign colleagues. We are resilient. We are brilliant. We are blessed. But we don't seem to know it. We don't seem to want to come together and forget that differences and make us truly great. Trump talks about making America great again. He has not seen anything yet. He has not seen what Nigeria is going to be with the help of the spirit of this class of 1980. We need to rekindle that spirit, that resilience, that resolve for excellence. So I call upon you all, classmates, friends, associates, but greater than anything else, compatriots, please stand up and raise your glasses to the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Long live the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We are one country. We are one great country. The best is yet to come. God bless us all. Amen.
God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, a toast to the noble Nigeria legal profession by the brilliant Enewa Rita I. Chris Garuba. A resounding round of applause as she elegantly walks to propose a toast.
From the day in 1968 when my father told me I would be his lawyer, I believed it. I took it very seriously. I began to see myself in that role. Today, 45 years into the profession, I'm proud. I'm excited to belong to this honorable profession. It may be at a low ebb presently, bedeviled with the lowering standards across the board, but for each and every one of us here in the class of 1980, we must continue to set the standard, set the pace. In this profession of lawyers, we have the greatest the world has ever known. The Almighty God is a judge, and Christians believe he will judge all persons. As if that is not enough, we have the advocate, we have the barrister, and we believe that our Lord Jesus Christ is an advocate, sitting at the heavenly bar, making a case for you and I, pleading our cause. The Nigerian legal profession is a permanent part of the system. Come rain, come shine. So, filled with a hope that we can only shine brighter and brighter, let us charge our glasses once again and rise on our feet and propose this toast. Let us charge our glasses once more to propose this final toast. Charge your glasses, the orange juice wine, to the legal profession. God bless you all.
Cheers to the Nigerian legal profession. It's been a wonderful evening, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. But what is an anniversary without the cutting of the cake? On that note, ladies and gentlemen, we proceed to the cutting of the beautiful 45th anniversary cake. And I'd like to invite the chairman of occasion, to please stand by the cake. He will be joined by Chairman Planning Committee, Chairman Planning Committee, please. Our keynote speaker and discussants. We cannot do this without the traditional institution. Igwe Professor Dr. Christian Nwachukwu Okeke Eze Oswofia the First of Ibn Novia and Duno Kingdom. I have also been asked to ask for Justice Jumai, Judge of the Supreme Court, will also join in the cutting of the cake, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Justice Jumai is behind, if I'm not mistaken. Then one representative per institution. One representative per institution. One representative per institution, please. Ife, Lagos, ABU, UNN, is there any institution not represented at the moment? UNN is on the way. Kogi State, sorry. Okay, I think we're fine. Sir? Kogi's not here. Don't put me in trouble. Okay, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we may please stretch our hands towards the cake. Members of the class of 1988, it's been 45 beautiful years. God has kept and brought you this far, and we pray that you will have even 45 years more. that. Much more than that. If you believe, please put your hands together for the class of 1980. Now we're going to count 45 years. And we're going to clap for every decade that you have spent. For the first 10, ladies and gentlemen, a resounding round of applause. You were over 500. Some have passed. But you are here. And life continues. For the second decade, 20, a resounding round of applause. Let's appreciate God for keeping this family. For 30, let's raise it up. Let's clap like we mean it. For 40, ladies and gentlemen. For 41, 42, 43, 44. And ladies and gentlemen, we are at 45. We may cut the cake. Congratulations. 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 Let's take photos. Let's take photos. 45 beautiful years in good health, camaraderie. Congratulations to you. All right, are we done? Yes. Thank you very much. We may return to our seats. All right, we'd like to call on the hosting state, River State, to come take photographs by the cake. The hosting state, River State, to come take photographs by the cake. The host state readers, please. Thank you. The organizing committee to please come cut the cake. The organizing committee to close by the cake, please. Those who worked around the clock tirelessly to ensure that this day sees the light of day, massive congratulations to you, members of the planning committee.
It's like candy. I can feel